Hello, Cougar Nation, and welcome to Geisman Gymnasium here on Wednesday, January 15th for some evening basketball between your Concordia University Chicago Cougars taking on the visiting Milwaukee School Engineering Raiders in a women's basketball matchup within the NAC. I'm Jonathan Shearer with the Cougar Sports Network. Joining me tonight is Eric Perry, and we get ready for a night of basketball here in Geisman. It's a team that's had a very rough go of it in conference so far in the Cougars, taking on a team that's been pretty solid so far in the Raiders as we get to that midway point. And the Cougars, it's been a rough 2025, winless in the new year so far, and that was kept up their last out at Lakeland University Saturday, a 77-51 loss in which the Cougars struggled to get some offensive production going. Kalia Red led the team and the starters in points scored. All four other starters, a combined 0 for 15 from the field, putting up 8 points. Rough offensive outing from the Cougars this last game, but there were some bright spots.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Kalia Red, she basically was their entire offense, at least out of the starters last game. They need another big game from her today, and hopefully moving forward as she evolves as a player.
Absolutely, the Cougars very much banking on their star sophomore as they try to get back on the right side of things this season. On the flip side, though, MSOE, a team 7-6 on the season, 3-1 in conference. Most recently, a home win over Edgewood this past Saturday, and it's been a heck of a run of it for MSOE. 3-1 in conference. They've been very strong defensively, and they've been putting up some good offensive performances lately too, anchored by some dominant post play from Curley.
Yeah, Lana Curley is by far their biggest player recently. She's had 3 career double-doubles, 2 of which in the last 2 games. She's been a house of fire for them, almost unstoppable, and she's looking for her 3rd straight double-double today, and she's probably going to get it.
Lana Curley, the reigning NAC Player of the Week coming into this game, and your 2nd NAC Player of the Week in her freshman season. So, looking to be a big season for Curley. But, Eric, as we look on to this game as a whole, MSOE, they're putting up a campaign to stay at the top of the conference. They would love to pick up a win and stay there. The Cougars this season already appears to have slipped away. They want to get back in the win column today as they get to the midpoint of the season. What do you think the Cougars need to do to have a chance in what looks to be a tough game for CUC?
It's going to come down to their defense. This is, on paper, this is probably going to be a fairly low-scoring game. So it's going to be on the Cougars to try to keep this game close. If they can keep this game close heading into the 4th quarter, then, any given day, there's a possibility that they can win it.
Absolutely. The Cougars on the season, they've scored the fewest average points per game in the NAC. Be a low-scoring game. You're going up against a Raiders team that has given up the fewest points allowed to their opponents in the NAC this season. For me, though, I'm looking to the offensive side of the Cougars, and I'm looking at those starters that we've mentioned. 4 of your starters not making a single field goal in a game is not a winning formula. And the Cougars today are going to need to look to get some production from those starters. They can get some production from the bench, but it all has to start with the first 5 you put on the court. If the Cougars can get production from some different places out of their starting 5, then they'll have a chance to stay in this game. But lastly, before we get going and ready to start off this game between these 2 teams, it's over 25 games played, and it's 10 wins for the Cougars, 16 for MSOE in the all-time rivalry between these 2 squads. MSOE on a 3-game win streak within that history, taking the most matchup last year. 6-4 the Cougars. MSOE to extend that win against the Cougars. They'll look to get back into the win column. Well, coming up at Geisman Gymnasium, I'm John here on the Cougar Sports Network with Eric. We'll go away for just a moment, but with action, guys. Hello, Cougar Nation, and welcome back to Geisman Gymnasium here on Wednesday night for some Cougar women's basketball action taking on the visiting MSOE Raiders. Teams get ready for tip-off out on the court. We'll run through your starters very quickly for the MSOE Raiders. It's number 1, Aaliyah Butterbrodt. Number 4, Mahima Chokshi. Number 21, Danny Mendez. And number 23, Rakia Williams. And number 32, Lana Curley. We'll get to those Cougar starters in just a moment, as here is the tip. And they go up for it. And Ellis will get her own tip. And it's white ball. The far sideline official thought that there was a jump ball, overruled by the center judge. So we'll start off with a Cougar possession. Michaela Ellis coming down with the loose ball after the tip-off. So Michaela Ellis is one of your starters with the ball right now. Hannah Lopez making her first career start for the Cougars. Out on the court, you see Kalia Reed, this team's leading scorer, take the ball, swing it over to Sydney Nimsicont. Nimsicont trying to drive in before she swings it back out to Ellis. That last starter in the paint right now, number 30, Allie McGregor. As Ellis trying to work her way around, stops, spins, and puts up a shot for a bucket. Cougars strike first, 2-0 early on, and this is a very different starting lineup than we saw in the Cougars last game.
Yeah, that's something that the Concordia coach does a lot. She'll shuffle the lineups to find out what works. What we saw against Lakeland didn't really work, so she's switching it up here today.
And right out there, Lana Curley tagged with a travel after taking the pass. So the Cougars will get possession right back off the turnover. And this is a Cougars team that does struggle to score. They score averaging 47 points per game, the lowest in the NAC. So if they can put up points early, it would be huge for them, as Ellis out on the perimeter drives in, trying to get to the hoop, and that's hard off the backboard, rebounded by Danny Mendez.
Yeah, that's what they got to do. They got to get off to a quick jump early, rack up points, and then force MSOE mistakes like we've seen on their first 2 possessions thus far.
As there's another turnover, long pass intended for Helena Hill. Goes out of bounds off of Hill. So Lopez will take the inbound. Cougars moving up with a bit of pace. Lopez lays it off to Reed. Nimsicont up at the key. Tries to get that to Ellis, and it goes through Ellis's legs. So now Chokshi will take it down court for MSOE. Chokshi, a senior on this MSOE squad, and she has been one of their stalwarts for the last few years. She swings that out to Hill. 3-ball no good off the front of the rim. Mendez able to get out there, but it goes out of bounds. So that ball will go the way of the Cougars.
Defensively, this game has started out pretty much exactly as how Coach Lauren Martin would want. They forced 3. They've gotten the ball back without MSOE scoring any points on the first 3 possessions. Now they just need to score on theirs.
Cougars still lead 2-0 with the ball. Reed dribbling up at the top of the key, looking for a lane, calling for some movement. Now she'll drive in herself into the paint, puts it up, and draws the foul.
Yeah, and Reed and Ellis were the 2 big players from the Saturday's game against Lakeland. So Concordia needs a big production out of them today to stay in this game and give themselves an opportunity to win.
And in that last game against Lakeland, 19 points for Reed. 7 of those came from the free throw line as she drains her first. Makes it a 3-0 game. Looking to make this 4-0 after the upcoming shot. And she does not do so off the back of the rim. Chokshi with the rebound. So MSOE chance to respond as they are yet to score in the first 2 minutes of play.
Mm-hmm. And MSOE, they don't score a lot of points, but they hold their opponents to the fewest points allowed in the conference.
That goes into Mendez. Mendez puts that up, bounces around, and in. Danny Mendez, first points of the night for the Raiders. 3-2 score now. Lopez to Ellis to Reed. Reed all alone on the far side, swings it back to Ellis. Now Ellis trying to work her way down in the paint, sends that out to Nimsicont. Nimsicont moving in, back out to Lopez, over to Ellis. Cougars struggling to find a way into the paint, and Reed will just put up a corner 3. No good off the side of the rim, rebounded by Chokshi.
Yeah,
Chokshi moving with pace. Curley trying to work her way into the paint. Instead, puts it off to Hill. Hill now blocked by Nimsicont. So the Cougars looking to keep up the pace, looking to respond quickly. Back out to Ellis. Now Ellis, she'll drive, she'll put up a shot herself and make it a 5-2 game.
And Ellis, last game, she had 14 points off the bench. She is a prime example of Concordia coach Lauren Martin's starting five shuffling. She was off the bench last game. She did well, so now she's in the starting five this game.
Hill puts that into Mendez. Now Curley from three. No good. Far left. Rebounded by McGregor. Now Imsakant moving it up with a faster pace than the rest of her squad. Hands it off to Lopez. Biding her time. Starting to move in. Kicks it back out to Ellis. And Ellis calling for ISO. Puts up a three. Bang! Cougars! 8-2 lead early. Michaela Ellis from deep. The Cougars 1 for 2 from three very early on. That's a good sign for a team that has struggled from beyond the arc this season.
Yeah, they shoot only around 20% from three, so the fact that they're 1 for 2 this early is a good sign.
Now Chokshi puts up a three herself and responds. 8-5 game. On the season, Mahima Chokshi, like we mentioned, one of those stalwarts for this MSOE squad. And she leads this team in three-point percentage at a 35% clip on the season. Now Collier Reed charging for the Cougars, just chucks that one up, and it's a poor shot rebounded by Mahima Chokshi. Chokshi puts it into Hill. Now Curley from deep, and that three will not go. But Mendez able to swoop in and steal the rebound from McGregor. And now foul will be tagged to Nimsakant. So some good scrappy rebounds from MSOE to get the ball back. As we see our first substitution of the night, Lindley Southern comes in for Michaela Ellis for the Cougars, and Chokshi will inbound for the Raiders.
Yep, Concordia trying to play defense to hold on to this early lead they got.
Now Mendez in the paint. Off the front of the rim, rebounded by Lopez. Now Lopez! Danny Mendez makes up for it with a steal of her own. Pickpocket maneuver. And now they'll reset up top with Mahima Chokshi. Now Hill from three, no good, off the back of the rim. And the Cougars interfere with each other, and MSOE picks up another rebound. Miscommunication from this Concordia squad, giving MSOE second chance after second chance.
There's been a few examples here early where Concordia just hasn't been able to get the rebounds that they should be able to get.
Now Danny Mendez under the hoop, tried to get a reverse. And no dice, well over the rim. Now Hannah Lopez will bring it down for the Cougars, who still have a three-point lead 5.5 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it looked like a desperation shot to just avoid a shot clock violation.
And Kalia Reed charging in, putting it up off the backboard. And the Cougars, first to double digits, 10-5 CUC, getting out and striking early here tonight. Butterbrought swings that over to Curley, wide open from three, and finally MSOE gets one to go. And Lana Curley gets most of her points in the paint. She is a three-point threat, however, struggled so far, and you kind of saw the Cougars leave her wide open, made them pay that time.
Yeah, Curley's a NAC Women's Basketball Player of the Week. You can't leave her open to just shoot up shots like that.
Now Reed driving in, and that's going to be blocked by Hill. So Chokshi will bring it down the near sideline. Now Chokshi thought about taking it in herself, instead puts it up to Hill. Hill driving in, and that's going to be blocked by Lopez. These two teams trading blocks. Swings that over to Reed. Back out to Lopez. Nimsakant, trouble with the reception. Handles it. Thought about driving in. Now Reed, corner three. No good off the back of the rim. And a nice tap from Curley to get it over to Hill for the rebound.
Yeah, Reed had the shot, but it just couldn't land. So now MSOE is back in the offensive, trying to tie this game, or perhaps take their first lead of the night.
Mendez hands that off to Chokshi up top. Chokshi going to try and drive in herself, kicks it out to Curley. Now Curley driving in, and Curley tagged with another travel. That's another turnover for the freshman. And we will now see a couple substitutions before we resume play.
And that's not something you see a lot out of Curley. She only averages 3 total turnovers a game. And so for her having 2 in the first 7 minutes and change is a telling sign as to how Concordia's defense is playing so far.
So it'll be Reed bringing the ball down the court for the Cougars with Hannah Lopez out of the game. Nimsicont holding. Has Schneider on the far side. Nimsicont will drive and put it up for a bucket. Cougars back up to a 4-point lead, 12-8.
Nimsicont's one of those freshmen that Concordia's just hoping to see more and more productivity out of as this season goes on.
Now Curley swings out to Chokshi. Chokshi, three! No good, off the side of the rim. And that did clip the wire, so that will be a Cougar ball. Cougars had the rebound either way, but now we'll get a substitution. Out of the game is Aaliyah Butterbrought. Into the game comes Nicole Levine. Reed will take point once more as a pair of picks chooses to go right. Schneider hits the floor. Reed dribbling back and forth, trying to create some opportunities, struggling to do so. Shot clock now below 10. Cougars haven't really done anything. Reed will just have to drive it herself. And she's able to draw the foul. So it's less than a minute into the game for Nicole Levine, and she'll pick up her first personal foul of the night. That'll stay on the floor. So Ellis will inbound for the Cougars.
Yep, Concordia gets a second chance of life here as that shot clock was very low in the singular digits.
Reed swings that back over to Ellis, swings it over to Nimsicont, who will try to drive and will draw another foul on Mahima Chokshi. These drives down the left side of the court, giving Cougars second chance after second chance. So Reed has another chance to create a possession. And she'll bring it towards middle, swing it over to Southern, back over to Reed. Reed, long three is good. Kalia Reed strikes from deep, and the Cougars back up to a 7-point lead, 15-8.
Yep, third time was the charm there for Concordia.
Lana Curley drives and tagged for a charge. Offensive foul on Lana Curley. Another turnover for MSOE. CUC profiting off of these turnovers. Really, MSOE struggling to get that offensive production so far. They've been sloppy.
Yeah, it's just been turnovers and personal fouls and not being able to pull in the rebounds that's allowed Concordia to build a 7-point lead here in the last minute of the first quarter.
Now Nimsicont will drive, try to get around Curley, and just could not. So now MSOE chance to push the pace, 3-on-3 possession. Curley will step back beyond the arc, swing it back over to Menson. Schmidt, top of the key, tries to get that over to Curley, and it's an awkward pass. Now Curley, step forward three, bangs it in. Lana Curley, second three of the night.
Yeah, she managed to drain that one in the face of a Concordia defender.
So the Cougars under 20 seconds to go, and that's going to be a steal for Nicole Levine. 15 seconds left. MSOE a chance to really push the momentum now. 10 seconds left. Levine at the top of the key has to do something. She'll start to drive on Schneider, puts up the shot, and that's going to be blocked by Ellis. And that is how the quarter will end. Cougars off to a strong start through the first quarter. 15 to 10, 11, 15 to...
I think that Curley 3 was actually just a very deep 2.
And it's a late change on the score clock, but 15 to 10 in favor of the Cougars. MSOE, they'll look to get things together in the second quarter when we come back here on the Cougar Sports Network.
Hi Cougar fans, it's Kalia here. We have our last CIT coming up and we would appreciate it if you would show out. Click the link below to go buy your ticket.
Welcome back to Geisman Gymnasium and Wednesday night women's basketball here at Concordia, Chicago. Cougars lead 15-10 over the Milwaukee School of Engineering Raiders after a strong first quarter for CUC and a bit of a sloppy one for MSOE.
Yeah, MSOE had a lot of mistakes. They had back-to-back turnovers on their first two possessions. They had several charging fouls that just disrupted their flow and gave Concordia the ball back. And that's not something you see all that often out of MSOE.
And Schmidt will start to take it down court for MSOE as they start with possession. Curley thought about driving in, thought about kicking it over. Now she will as Schmidt comes over to open up an option. Back over to Curley. Curley into the corner to Levine. Three, no good. Well over the rim, and that'll go out of bounds off of Shelby Glodowski. And it appears that is still Cougar ball. Some confusion with the subs. Now the Cougars are inbound. MSOE playing a high press to start this quarter.
Yeah, they saw what they were doing. First quarter didn't work, so they've decided to shift it up, go to a high press.
Gets that over to Lopez. Back out to Reed. Cougars break the press. Ellis at the top of the key now, and she'll look to slow this offense down. Gets the call from head coach Lauren Martin, and just a three from Ellis is in. Michaela Ellis spots up.
She is 2 for 2 from three tonight.
Lana Curley will respond with a three of her own, and that's a deep three for the freshman.
That's the second time this game that Concordia's hit a three, and MSOE's just turned around and hit one of themselves.
Nimskont mid-range jumper is good. The Cougars on a heater to start this quarter. Schmidt will now run point for MSOE, trying to keep the pace up. Swings it over to Curley. Curley thought about pulling up and said she'll swing left over to Levine. Levine driving, thought about putting up, now has to from a weird angle, and Levine hesitation kills her there. Now Michaela Ellis, another spot up three, this time off the front of the rim and rebounded by Curley.
Little bit of a heat check there for Michaela Ellis.
And it's not a bad heat check. She got right up to the three-point line uncovered.
Yeah, she didn't take some crazy deep shot. It was a good shot to take. Just unfortunately didn't go in.
And that pass into the paint intended for Ella Menson will draw the foul. And that'll be tagged on Allie McGregor. McGregor's first of the evening.
And that's something that Concordia managed to avoid in the first quarter. They only had one personal foul on Sydney Nimsicon. MSOE had several.
That'll reset the shot clock. Mahima Chokshi will head down to inbound it. She'll get that out to Butterbrought. Over to Chokshi in the corner. Tries to swing that into Mendez. Mendez working on McGregor. And Mendez will draw the foul. Another foul in short succession for Allie McGregor. And that'll send Danny Mendez to the line. Yep. Something to note, Eric, with these two squads is experience. You mentioned a lot of freshmen for the Cougars. You go over to MSOE, obviously Lana Curley, freshman, but the rest of this roster, there's a lot of experience on this roster. The majority of this starting lineup are players we've seen before. Yeah,
like you said, we have seen most of this MSOE team in years past. We saw it ourselves last year when they came here to play us, but that's what separates them from the Cougars. They've been around the block. They know how the games go. They know each other better than the Cougars might.
And Mendez 1 for 2 from the charity stripe. Lopez bringing it down for the Cougars. Ellis moving over to the corner. Gets that one off to Nimsicon. Swings that to Lopez in the corner. Now Lopez back out to Ellis beyond the perimeter. Shot clock now at 10. Reed looking to drive. No options. Gets it over to Nimsicon, and that will dribble out of bounds. Pass just a bit to the left. Nimsicon unable to react in time. And that'll be a turnover, and that'll be the Raiders' possession as they trail by 6.
Yeah, a little bit of miscommunication there as Nimsicon wasn't able to rein in the pass.
Now Hill stepping in, swinging that over to Butterbrought and out of bounds. Ellis able to get a fingertip on it, disrupted it just enough for Butterbrought to not be able to get a clean handle. Back-to-back turnovers, and now the Cougars' a second chance. The Cougars haven't not been committing turnovers.
No.
But the difference is MSOE hasn't been making them pay the price as much.
Yeah. MSOE only has one more turnover than the Cougars, but the Cougars have been able to convert those turnovers into points.
Now Nimskant back over to Kulig. Kulig trying to drive in. Can't get the pass off. Good perimeter paint D from MSOE. So Chokshi bringing it down. She'll just drive it in herself. Step back, jumper, fadeaway, no good. Rebounded by Reed. So the Cougars keeping the pace up as well. Back to Ellis. Deep three. No good off the back of the rim. Rebounded by Butterbrot.
Yeah, she saw her. Ellis saw her chance and took it, but it did not fall that time, unfortunately.
Hill stepping in, driving, back out to Mendez, wide open on the perimeter. Thought about it, gets it off to Chokshi. Now Chokshi, mid-range jumper is good. Rim backboard through the net for Chokshi.
And with that, Concordia's entered a 2-minute scoring drought. We've seen issues with their scoring before, so they're trying to break it here.
Now Reed, mid-range jumper of her own, no good, rebounded by Hill. Chokshi running point, lays that off to Hill. Now Mendez working at the perimeter, starts to drive, and there she'll draw a foul. That should be tagged on, looks to be Kulig. So Abby Kulig puts up her first foul of the night and heads back to the bench as Courtney Schneider comes back into the game. Mahima Chokshi will now inbound for MSOE. Gets that out to Butterbrot. In the corner to Chokshi. Corner three is good, and it's a 1-point game.
Chokshi is a 3-point threat for MSOE. Anytime she has the opportunity to take one of those shots, she's taking them, and a good chunk of the time they're going in.
Lopez over to Reed. Now Lopez working for corner. Back to Reed. Cougars, like you mentioned, Eric, on a scoring drought, now over 3 minutes. And long drive from Lopez, just chucks it up and no good. The Cougars, they're struggling to create good opportunities. Now MSOE has another fast break opportunity. Chokshi thought about spotting up on the three. Says she'll try to get it into Mendez in the paint, and she does. Mendez spinning, posting up, no good. Rebound Hill. Hill tries to get back up, and that will be a foul charged on the Cougars. Kept on the floor, tagged on Sydney Nimsakai.
Yeah, as you said, Concordia hasn't been able to get good shots in the last several minutes. They've just been kind of going down there and chucking them up and hoping that they'll go in, which they haven't been. And now the scoring drought's approaching the 4-minute mark.
As we see our first time out of the game called by head coach Lauren Martin for the Cougars, as we're down to the smallest point differential since 3-2 early on in the game. 1 point, Cougars lead 20-19. And I think the biggest thing we're seeing in these last few minutes is the paint play. The Cougars still have more points in the paint. 6 points in the paint. MSOE only has 2, but it's that paint defense that's making a big defense right now. The Cougars haven't been getting great shots from 3 all day, but now they can't even get good shots when they drive to the rim.
No, yeah. The MSOE defense has just done a good job of locking them down and making it so that the Cougars have to try a really rough pass or a really bad-angled shot. And MSOE's been able to just get the ball back and go on a 6-0 run here over the last 2.5 minutes.
Jima Chokshi inbounds. Hill, top of the key. Swings it back to Chokshi, who just spots up a 3. No good off the back of the rim. Rebounded by Ellis. So now Lopez will run point once more. Reed working from the far side, looking for an option, has to get it over to Schneider, who gets it back out to Reed, back over to Ellis. Cougars trying to swing it across the court. Now Lopez back over to Reed. Reed, jumper from 3, no good off the back of the rim. Chokshi rebounds.
And it's not like they're rushing these shots. They've been draining the shot clock. It's just that the MSOE defense has been able to make sure that nothing can get off.
Mendez, good opportunity to drive, and she gets that one up nice and in. Looked like a layup drill out there for the center. And MSOE, their first lead of the day, 21-20.
Yeah, Concordia got off to a good start, but over the last 4 minutes, they've done nothing, and MSOE's been able to take the lead.
Nimsicon, corner three, no good. Rebounded by Chokshi. And a sloppy foul from Sydney Nimsicon. And you saw it on her face as soon as the whistle blown.
Yeah, the second the whistle blew, she knew what she had done.
And Nimsicon off to the bench immediately. And it's just frustration from the Cougars. Fouls like that, those transition fouls, not much going the way of the Cougars so far. Nearly a 5-minute scoring drought as Chokshi hits the first of her free throws. MSOE is in the bonus, so she gets the 1-and-1, makes it to that second, and she makes the second. 23-20 lead now for MSOE. Makes it a 10-0 run in the last 4 minutes, and that inbound intercepted by Lana Curley, and her mid-range jumper no good.
Yeah.
So the Cougars turnover doesn't cost them.
Luckily.
Michaela Ellis now working on the far side. Tries to move it in the center. Now Lopez, corner three. That one airballed, rebounded by Lana Curley.
And for a team that's not an exceptionally great shooting team from three, they've taken a lot of them this game, but they're only 3 for 9.
And now it's going to be a moving screen tagged on Mahima Chokshi. So the Cougars, breath of fresh air. They'll get the ball back as they are still yet to score in the past 5+ minutes. And I think what you're seeing with those threes, like you mentioned, they're putting up a lot of them, even though they're not great from three. They're pressing. That's where the Cougars are right now. They're pressing.
Yeah.
They're falling behind. Nothing's working for them. And you start to see a bit of that desperation to make stuff work setting in.
Yeah, and it's only a 3-point game with 3 minutes left in the first half. It's not necessarily time to hit the panic button just yet. They don't need to just chuck up threes and hope they go in.
Now that loose ball, Ellis able to pick it up, trying to swing it over to Lopez. Lopez kicks it back out to Southern. Southern over to Reed. Reed puts up a three. Shot clock winding down, no good. Rebounded by Southern. Puts it right back up and in, and that'll break the scoring drought. Cougars back within 23-22.
Sometimes all you need is one shot to go your way, so we'll see if that proves to be the case for the Cougars thus far.
Butterbrodt driving in and able to draw the foul. That'll be a shooting foul. Blocking tagged on Courtney Schneider. So Butterbrodt will now head to the line. We see a pair of substitutions for these squads. Hannah Lopez out of the game for Grace King. And Helena Hill coming out of the game for Shelby Gladowski.
And that last shot from Southern, that was off a pretty deep three to beat the shot clock. So it was just very fortunate that the rebound went straight to her.
That first free throw from Butterbrodt is good. She'll look to make it a 3-point game once more with her second opportunity. And that one rattles in as well. Butterbrodt 2 for 2 from that trip, and it's a 25-22 game. And again, that high press. Ellis swings that over to Reed. The Cougars just able to beat it. Reed driving in, kicks it out to King in the corner. Long two, no good.
And MSOE is a very good shooting free throw team, so you cannot give them the free trips to the line, where the odds are they're probably going to hit them.
That's hurled into Mendez, kicked that out for Curley from three, no good off the back of the rim. Mendez gets the rebound. Curley again, this time in the paint, blocked by Ellis. And that swung out past Schneider, and it's off of the Cougars. Schneider confident that it was off of an MSOE player and just letting it go.
Yeah, to my eye, it looked like it was just a sidearm pass that didn't hit any of the MSOE players.
Anna Lopez coming into the game now for the Cougars, replacing Michaela Ellis. Under 2 minutes to go in the half. MSOE leads 25-22. Butterbrodt driving, and that'll be a travel turnover. We'll get possession back over to the Cougars. I mean, we mentioned the Cougars. They broke that scoring drought, but That's about all it's done. Still one of their last 10 from the field. MSOE still on a 12-2 run in the last 6+ minutes.
Yeah, but they themselves haven't scored a field goal in the last 2.5 minutes.
Now Reed kicks it over to Lopez, kicks it out to Southern. Southern thought about it, back over to Reed. Under 10 to go on the shot clock, over to Paul. Paul driving, has to regain possession, 3 to go, and that's going to be a turnover, a rushed pass. And MSOE forces another Cougar turnover, the Cougars' 5th turnover in the last 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, MSOE's done a good job of making it so that the Cougars can't get a good shot off, and they just have to let the shot clock wind down.
That's a 3 from Schmidt, no good, and that's a long rebound for Schneider. Lopez slowing the possession down. Getting a call in from Martin, makes the call. Swings it over to Paul. Now Paul trying to move around, and that's going to be an illegal screen tagged on the Cougars. That one charged on Courtney Schneider, who is coming out of the game anyways for Abby Kulig.
And that's been the issue for Concordia in the last, well, pretty much the entire quarter. They have 6 turnovers in 8 minutes, which means they're just not able to get shots off and try to reclaim the lead.
Now Butterbrought driving in, thought about a mid-range, now kicks it back out to Glodowski, back out to Curley. Curley puts it into Mendez. Now Butterbrought thought about it from 3, driving in, going to put that into Glodowski in the paint, and Glodowski can't make the short-range shot. Goes for the putback, no good, and this time it's rebounded by Michaela Ellis, who's able to draw the foul. So 21 seconds left in the half. Cougars will have an opportunity to get back up on the board.
They can score here, either go into the halftime down. Spoke too soon.
But they won't. Pass intercepted by Glodowski. Straight into the paint. Butterbrought short shot, no good, but she draws the foul. Kulig tagged with her 2nd. And Michaela is taking responsibility for that one, and that MSOE press effective once more, so the Cougars' opportunity to score before half. It's now going to result in a free throw trip for Aaliyah Butterbrought. Butterbrought on the day, 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Make it 2 for 3. That one rattles in and out.
Cougars will get the ball last, so they'll have the last opportunity to just take what will probably be a relatively deep shot in the last 9 seconds.
Butterbrought's 2nd free throw is up and good. So 26-22 game, 9 seconds left in the half. Michaela Ellis to inbound for the Cougars. Gets that into Reed. Reed, 6 seconds left, trying to go quickly. 4-3, mid-range jumper, no good. And MSOE will head out of the half with the lead. Raiders lead 26-22 over the Cougars after a strong second period. Cougars struggle to put up points in that second period. And as we head to the locker rooms for halftime, it's MSOE 26, CUC 22. Raiders looking to continue this positive trend after the halftime break. We'll see what Coach Lauren Martin has to say to her team and if the Cougars can get back on track after the half. We'll be back after half as well here on the Cougar Sports Network in just a moment for more Cougar basketball action.
Cougar fans,
don't miss out on our Saturday comp performance at 11:30,
where we take home the W.
Hi, I'm Monica here at Concordia University Chicago, and we're here outside of Concordia Hall. Concordia Hall is the university's newest residence hall, right on the edge of campus, perfect for students who want to explore the nearby downtown of Oak Park and River Forest. The flexible suite-style living in fully furnished bedrooms lets students choose what works best for them. Every floor is complete with a community lounge and full common kitchen, with a kitchenette, microwave, sink, and refrigerator. The first floor offers the Victory Lounge, connecting to 2 additional residence halls, with no shortage of ways to relax. You're also right next to an open, outdoor plaza, better known as Victory Lane.
So now we're here in Concordia Hall's suite-style dorm room, and this is a really nice place to just hang out and chill. And since it's so big, there's plenty of room to
I'm a CUC nursing student and choose to stand tall for healing at a university that places Christ at the center and embraces teaching students to live a life fulfilled by purpose and meaning. Concordia University Chicago's new Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree is an innovative and rigorous 4-year program that will prepare you to rise to the daily challenges of a rewarding nursing career and serve a greater cause. Our newly built modern simulation center features 4 distinct spaces: a skills attainment lab, multi-specialty intensive care spaces, a health assessment learning center, and a simulated home environment. Due to our close proximity to many world-class teaching hospitals, CUC's clinical rotations offer an abundance of diverse and real-world experiences. Learn more about earning your BSN at a Christ-centered university today.
Down through the ages, God has called and equipped people to make a real difference in the lives of others. To lead, to heal, to stand tall. For 160 years, Concordia University Chicago has been preparing the next generation of leaders with the wisdom, faith, and values to make an impact in the world, to share the gifts God gave them and answer the call to a life fulfilled by purpose and truth, to be living examples of what it means to live with Christ at the center as we serve others. Because at CUC, we don't run away from adversity. We go towards it. We don't shrink from our faith. We lead with it. We are teachers, caregivers, and musicians, scientists, pastors, and business leaders, unshakable pillars of strength and integrity who serve a cause greater than ourselves. And the world needs us now more than ever. Learn how a degree from Concordia University Chicago can help you be the pillar the world needs to stand for something greater. The only question is, are you ready to stand tall?
Welcome back, Cougar Nation, to Geisman Gymnasium here on Wednesday night as we get ready for the second half of women's basketball action with your Concordia Chicago Cougars. I'm Jonathan Shear with the Cougar Sports Network. Joining me tonight is Eric Perry. And Eric, it was a back and forth first half. Cougars up 15-10 after that first quarter. And then it was a rough second quarter for both teams, but it was MSOE that was able to head into the locker room on top.
Yeah, the difference was that in that second quarter, MSOE was able to put some points on the board, go on a scoring run near the end of the quarter, while Concordia was just stifled on offense.
Yeah, there's a couple key differences to look at here. We're going to look at Concordia's offense to start with. 50% from the field in the first half, which is very, very good, especially for this team who has struggled from the field.
Oh, yeah.
Down to 23% in that second quarter. So a drastic drop in shooting performance, and we saw that. They looked to be forcing a lot more shots. The opportunities weren't as great. On MSOE's end, still not a great quarter. I mean, 28% shooting in the first quarter, 26% in the second quarter. The differences, though, are more shots, which meant there was one extra field goal made in that quarter for MSOE, and then free throws.
Yeah, MSOE's 75% from the free throw line so far in the game, and those 6 free throws are, well, as you can see based off the score, the difference in this game so far. Concordia just hasn't been able to drive and get those fouls called that allow them to go to the line and shoot free throws.
Yeah, one of those bright spots for Concordia, though, in that first half, and a lot of that's that first quarter, Michaela Ellis, back in the starting lineup today, and she has really produced. 2 for 4 from 3, 4 for 7 from the field, leads this team, tied for lead of both teams, with 10 points.
Yeah, she has been great this first half. She's picking up right where she left off from the bench in the Lakeland game. She had 14 in that game. She's already got 10 in the first half. So odds are she will probably improve from that performance. But yeah, she's got to keep going and pick things back up if she wants to help Concordia tie this game and get back into the lead.
Now on MSOE's end, 2 players really putting up a lot of points right now. Mahima Chokshi and Lana Curley, both of them being very productive from beyond the arc.
Oh, yeah. They have been hitting great from 3. Chokshi's 2 for 4. Curley's 2 for 5. That's 12 points right there for MSOE. So those 2 players' abilities to hit threes is what helped them stay in this game and what helped them get back into the lead when they were once down by 7.
Yeah, but it's been an interesting game so far. It's been fast-paced at times. It's been slow-paced at times. Both teams have struggled to score at times.
Yes.
As we get into the second half, Eric, the Cougars led at 1 point, trail by 4 now. What does CUC have to do to get that lead back and keep it?
They got to slow the pace down. They have 0 fast break points. Meanwhile, MSOE's got 6, so they can slow the game down, and then not only that, but figure out a way to break through the MSOE defense that has forced a lot of bad shots and 7 turnovers in the second quarter. Then that can give them an opportunity to win this game.
And now we're getting ready for this third quarter as the Cougars will start with possession. And it's that same starting lineup out there for CUC, same starting lineup out there for MSOE. Ellis working in from mid-range. Swings that out to Nimsakan. Now Nimsakan, hard pass to McGregor. Back out to Lopez. Long pass over to Reed. Cougars doing a full circle as Reed driving in. Floater, no good. Bouncing out the front of the rim. McGregor able to get the rebound, but then loses it. And then a long pass from Mendez intended for Hill is way too long.
You mentioned that both teams are back to their original starting 5 for the game. That's what this game has been the starting 5 for both teams making points. There's only 2 bench points combined across both teams, and that was the Lindley Southern putback. So the starting 5s for both teams doing the majority of the work tonight so far.
Now Lopez getting that over to Reed. Reed puts that into Ellis. Ellis driving, spinning. Fadeaway is good. Michaela Ellis gets the Cougars on the board first in this second half.
And that's the kind of shots that they weren't able to hit in the second quarter. They'd get down there, and the MSOE defense would just clamp down, and they wouldn't be able to get a good look.
Hill swings that over to Curley. Swings that over to Butterbrought. Now MSOE, 15 seconds left, and Chokshi wide open right in the middle of the court. And she'll put that up for a nice little mid-range shot. 28-24 now. MSOE responds, and they're also going to bring that press back.
Yeah, that was basically a free throw for Chokshi, only except it was worth 2 points instead of 1.
Now Ellis working from the near side, working on Helena Hill. Kicks out to Nimsicon. Nimsicon, long three, no good, wide of the rim. McGregor rebounds. Now Reed working from the same spot as Ellis. Tries to drive in, and she'll draw the blocking foul. That'll be tagged on Aaliyah Butterbrought. Coach Hannah Trees confused about that call as well. And that's on the floor, and Nimsicon will inbound. Reed kicking out to McGregor, swings all the way over to Nimsicon, and Nimsicon's pass intercepted. Fast break now for Chokshi, working on Lopez, pump fake, puts it up, and good. Mahima Chokshi, 4 points already in the quarter, and it's now a 6-point lead for MSOE.
And that's what MSOE's been good at this game. They've been good on getting the fast break opportunities and turning those into points.
Now corner three for Nimsicon is good. Sydney Nimsicon finally gets the shot to fall from D.
Yeah, she was 0 for 2 in the first half of 3, but now she's hit one, so who knows? Maybe they'll start to fall easier for her now.
And part of Sydney Nimsicon's profile is as a three-point shooter, and that breaks a 2-game drought from beyond the arc for the freshman. Now Curley, straightaway three is good, and Lana Curley responds with a tray of herself.
That's one of those plays where you just can't let her get open. She is a good three-point shooter, as we mentioned in the first half. Current NAC Player of the Week.
Now Nimsicon responds, and that one's too far. Curley for the rebound. So if you're on the double-double tracker for Lana Curley, she has broken double digits in points with that three, and that rebound brings her up to 4. Now Butterbrought driving in, stops in the mid-range, works her way through, and just miscommunication on defense from the Cougars. Another 2 points. This is now an 8-point lead for the Raiders as Coach Martin calls the first time out of the half for the Cougars.
Yeah, in just 3.5 minutes, not even, this MSOE lead has doubled, and Martin's calling a timeout, presumably to try to get her team calm down, get them more focused and locked in so that they can try to make sure that this game does not get out of hand.
Mahima Chokshi now up to 14 points on the night, 5 for 8 from the field. The junior having herself a day so far.
And one thing to note is that this is almost what we saw happen in a Lakeland game, although not to as big an extent. But 2 players on the Cougars starting 5 still have 0 points thus far in the game, Hannah Lopez and Allie McGregor.
Now Kalia Reed working down the near sideline. Cuts left, swings over to Nimscont. Nimscont back over to Reed. Reed thought about it, looking for a path, driving towards the baseline, step back, swings over to Nimsicont. Nimscont driving herself, and she'll lose it, but she draws the blocking foul. This one will be tagged to Helena Hill, and that'll send Nimsicont to the free throw line.
MSOE coach Hannah Trees is not happy about that call. She thought her player was straight up.
Nimscont's first free shot is up and good.
Two for the charity stripe, and it's just what you want to see out of Concordia when they're trailing in the game. You need to take all the shots you can get from the charity stripe.
Now Butterbrought working on the far side, gets it to Curley. Curley thought about it, swings over to Hill. Hill into the middle of the Chokshi. Chokshi swarmed, steps up, tries to ditch that out, and that pass is broken up by Ellis, so Lopez will bring it down for the Cougars. Long pass to Nimscont. Nimscont tried to drive, gets blocked off by Butterbrought, and the Cougars will just reset. Ellis driving, spinning, putting it up, no good. And there's going to be a foul tagged on Danny Mendez, it appears, for pushing on the rebound. So that foul is on the floor. Third team foul of the half for MSOE and of the third quarter. Reed working from the far side, now working from the top of the key. Sends it into McGregor, back out to Reed. Now Reed tries to drive, and another foul tagged on MSOE, this time on Helena Hill again. So the Raiders racking up the fouls very quickly right now. Cougars another opportunity for a shot clock reset.
Yeah, they don't MSOE doesn't have any players quite in foul trouble yet, but if it keeps happening this rapidly, they will soon.
Now Reed swings over to McGregor. 5 left on the shot clock. Nimscont driving, has to put it up. That's off the side of the backboard and out of bounds. So all of that, 2 fouls, multiple resets, 4-0 for CUC. And MSOE will take possession back.
And the Cougars go in another drought. No field goals in the last 2.5 minutes. We saw that happen in the first half. If they want this game to stay close, then they cannot afford to go on shooting droughts like that.
Hill, Joe driving in herself, and an easy drive right up to the rim for Helena Hill. Now 37-29 MSOE.
And Concordia just hasn't been able to get their shots to fall.
And there's another one that falls on the ground, not in the hoop. Sydney Nimscont, another no-good 3.
It was a good look, but just didn't have enough behind it that got it in.
Now Curley stops, puts over to Hill. Hill, long 2 is good. And now Helena Hill's on a heater. 39-29. First 10-point lead of the day we've seen from either team, and it's the Raiders who have it.
Yeah, this Concordia team, they started off the quarter looking all right, like they had gotten past some of the struggles from the first half, but now MSOE's just built that lead even bigger than it was earlier.
Nimscont drives and just chucks that one up. Another shooting foul called on MSOE, and head coach Hannah Trees very frustrated with this her call. And regardless of whether it's a correct call or not, I think a lot of that frustration honestly comes from the fact that, I mean, Sydney Nimscont, it worked, it got the free throw, but that's not really a smart drive as well. And I think part of what we've seen from the Cougars is plays like that, forcing their way to the rim. I mean, you saw what happened at the end there. Sure, she got fouled, but most of the time a drive isn't going to end with you hitting the floor like that.
No, most of the time you're going to drive like that, and it's going to get blocked or you're going to turn the ball over. So it's not an effective strategy if you want to try to get back in this game. You need to actually manage to hit your shots from the field, something that Concordia hasn't done for the last 4 minutes now.
But it does produce 2 points from Sydney Nimscont. Another trip to the line makes it an 8-point game, 39-31. And now Leah Butterbrought tagged with a travel.
And this is what Concordia needs to take advantage of. They need to take advantage of the MSOE turnovers if they want to cut this 8-point lead back to a 4 or 2-point lead.
Gallo Ellis working all the way to the far sideline. Working on Lana Curley. Step back fadeaway. No good, but she does draw the foul. This one going on Lana Curley. I mean, it hasn't felt unfair, but the foul disparity so far in this quarter has been extreme.
Yeah, yes. The foul disparity this quarter has been very, I don't want to say Cougar favored, but Cougar leaning, I guess.
Ellis, second shot up, and that one no good as well. So Michaela Ellis, big opportunity, and fails to convert on either.
Lana Curley was limping for a second, but as she moves down the court, it looks like that pain in her foot has disappeared.
Chokshi drives, and she's pickpocketed by Michaela Ellis. Nice steal. So the Cougars again with another possession. They're moving with pace. Nimsicon working down the baseline, driving in, tries to throw that one up, and no good. Now Kalia Reed sends that into Schneider. Schneider just blocked out of bounds off of the Raiders, and I think when we talked about just poor shot selection from the Cougars, and though I mean it's the same thing. Those are both very poor shots from CUC.
Yeah, that first shot was rough, and then that second shot was just not good. She was triple covered, and she threw it up anyway, and it's lucky that it went off the MSOE player first.
Shot clock at 5. Reed just has to put it up, and she does get it to fall. Kalia Reed breaks a 5-minute field goal drought for CUC, makes it a 5-point game.
Yeah, despite CUC's lack of shooting so far in the quarter, still only a 5-point game.
Now Schmidt from 3, nails it. Sam Schmidt responds with a triple of her own. It's now 42-34 once again. Kalia Reed working it down the court. She'll drive herself, and shots up, no good. And now Michaela Ellis will get tagged with a travel as she goes down. Going for the rebound.
It looked like in that moment, Reed was on the floor after taking that shot. Ellis got the rebound and then just tripped directly over Reed, and that's what caused the travel.
So MSOE possession. Schmidt inbounds to Chokshi. And Chokshi swings over to Levine. Levine has some space, driving in, stumbles, but gets the shot up and in anyways. 10-point game again, 44-34 in favor of the Raiders.
Just when it seemed like Concordia might have gotten this game back under control, got to only a 5-point lead, MSOE turns around and hits the big shots to get it back to the double digits.
Lopez over to Nimscont. Nimscont working, swings it back to Lopez. Lopez puts it into Ellis. Ellis triple covered, trying to get it out. Takes a step, puts it up, and no good. Rebounded by Danny Mendez. So now Chokshi working with some pace. The Cougars trying to get their defense set. Chokshi calls another play, now drives in, driving down the left side, working on Schneider, kicks out to Levine. Now Levine driving. Nice little spin move, and in Nicole Levine. Driving into the paint very, very nicely on these last couple possessions. Now a 12-point lead.
Mm-hmm. And MSOE's been able to split the Cougar defense in a way that Concordia hasn't been able to do.
Now Nimsicon responds with a 3. Sydney Nimsicon's second 3 of the quarter brings it back to a 9-point game.
They can manage to get a stop here and then turn around and score themselves. They might be able to claw a little bit of control back.
Now Chokshi with a 3. No good. Rebound by Lopez. Cougars opportunity to move fast. Instead, Lopez chooses to slow it down, get the offense set. 5 seconds left, 4 seconds left, 3, 2. Ellis had to put a shot off, gets it over to Nimsicon. It's a rush shot from Nimsicon. Cougars go a bit too slow to get a good possession to end the half. So we'll head out of the third quarter with MSOE extending their lead in the biggest offensive quarter from both teams we've had tonight.
Mm-hmm. Concordia, again, it comes down to their scoring droughts. They had a 5-minute time span in this quarter where they just didn't hit anything. They just didn't get any shots from the field, and the only thing that managed to help them keep a little bit of a grasp on this game was their free throw shooting. But even then, that can only help you for so long. And as you see, MSOE has just been able to hit the shots, and their 4-point lead at half is now a 9-point lead going into the fourth quarter. This stat says it all. Concordia, 2 of their last 11 shots from the field. It's just been a combination of good MSOE defense and bad Concordia decision making. They haven't been taking good shots, which means that the shots they do get up are deeply contested, and the vast majority of them are not going in. If they want to somehow claw their way back in this fourth quarter, then they're going to have to start getting the good looks and hitting their shots. Otherwise, MSOE is just going to maintain this 9-point lead through to the end of the game.
And we'll head into the fourth quarter with the Raiders holding that lead 46-37. MSOE, they've been getting better and better and better offensively in all three of these quarters so far, and they'll look to continue that trend. Levine swings over to Butterbrot. Butterbrot back out to Chokshi. Tries to get into Mendez. It's a wayward pass. And Mendez trying to get there to reel it in, lays out Nimsicon. So Nimsicon draws a foul, first of the quarter, and the Cougars will take possession.
Yeah, it's one of those fouls on Mendez that wasn't intentional in any way. It's just something that happens when you got two players going for the same ball.
Now Reed swings back over to Lopez. Lopez over to Nimsicon. Cougars trying to look for some option. Finally, Nimsicon, three, no good. Rebound Levine.
Thought they had the option there for a sec, but it was not to be.
Now Chokshi, top of the key, over to Butterbrot. Butterbrot working central. Thought about driving and was trying to swing it over to Chokshi, but another poor pass. MSOE killing their last two possessions with poor passes. Cougars, they'll have to look to capitalize on one of these turnovers.
Yeah, if MSOE turns over their first two possessions and Concordia comes out with no points out of either one, then that is what I would say not great thing for Concordia.
There's a pass for Kalia Reed, able to reel it in. Slowly moving central. Now she'll cut towards the baseline. Back out to McGregor. Over to Nimsicon. Now Nimsicon driving, slicing through, and misses the layup. And they get lucky. Nicole Levine botches the rebound.
Concordia will have a second chance here to try to score some points off those two MSOE turnovers.
Nimsicon will inbound for the Cougars. Long inbound to McGregor. Quickly back to Ellis. Fade away. No good. Rebound Chokshi. So Levine will take it down the far side. She'll bring it to the left. Now brings it back, and this Cougars defense collapsing and leaving the right side of the paint wide open. Nicole Levine doing it all herself on that possession.
Yeah, Levine just turned a spin move, and there was not a Cougar in the area that was able to stop her from hitting that layup.
Reed to Nimsicon. Back to Reed. Now Ellis back to Reed. Cougars working around the perimeter. Can't find a way in yet. And now Reed will drive, and she'll put up the floater. And that will be tagged as a blocking foul on Aaliyah Butterbrot. So that will send Reed to the line for a free throw.
And one thing Concordia has been good about this game is they've been good at hitting their free throws. That Reed free throw there makes them 7 for 9 so far tonight. Make that 8 for 10.
There's another one. 9-point deficit now for the Cougars. Swings that over to Hill. Back to Levine. Over to Chokshi in the corner. Tries to get that into Mendez. Intercepted by McGregor.
One thing I've noticed in this second half is that Allie McGregor's been more aggressive going for the ball.
And that shot up from Nimskon, no good. Nimskon has been reckless with her drives in the paint so far today. Now Chokshi working with pace. Swings that to Hill in the corner. And Hill tries to get it to Mendez. Mendez has struggled with receiving passes today. There's another turnover. Nimskon, 3, no good off the back of the rim. Rebounded by McGregor. She'll get it back out to Reed. Reed thought about finding an option. She'll send it back over to Lopez. Now Ellis looking for somewhere to go. Instead sends it over to Nimskon, who will take another 3. That one no good off the back of the rim, rebounded by Mendez.
Well, law of averages says that one of those threes has to go in eventually, but by that point, might be too little too late.
Now Levine driving, shot up, no good, but she does draw the foul. So Levine will head to the line. That one tagged on Ellis. That is the first foul committed by a Cougar in the second half. Cougars have been very good about not committing those fouls here in the second half.
And on the other side, MSOE had several instances in the third quarter and start of this quarter where they thought that, where they committed some fouls that Coach Hannah Trees might have disagreed with.
So Levine misses that first, goes for the second. I mean, that's a stat that's very much in favor of the Cougars. You want a stat that's not? Field goal percentage. The Cougars, 19% from the field in this half. MSOE, 91% from the field. 10 for 11. They have been lights out shooting in this half so far.
Yeah, if a team's shooting 91% from the field, the only way you're going to beat them is if you shoot 100%, and Concordia has not been doing that.
Now Southern short jumper, no good. Takes 2 bounces off the rim and out. Now Levine working with pace, finds Chokshi on the side. Chokshi driving in, steps back, gives it to Mendez. Now Mendez working up in the paint, gets that up and good. Nice layup from Danny Mendez. And Michaela Ellis immediately after that shot holding what looks to be her calf or her knee. And she's immediately subbed out of the game. Ellis, early on last season, suffered a season-ending knee injury that derailed the Cougars' season. And she immediately heads to the locker room after this injury. So not a great sign for the Cougars as they lose one of their star players.
No,
but Cougars do have possession. Reed working towards the corner. Nimskon driving baseline, tries to put that shot up. Awkward shot, rebound by MSOE.
And Nimskon's just had several possessions where she's taken shots that are not good looks.
And that will be a blocking foul charge to Lindley Southern. That'll send Levine to the line. Ellis is still the Cougars, one of the Cougars' leading point scorers on the game. 13 points on the night, only behind Nimskon's 14. That will likely hold at 13 points on the game with 5.5 minutes remaining. Now Levine makes that second free throw, so 1 for 2.
Yeah, the way Ellis immediately limped off to the locker room, odds are we're not going to see her in the last 5 minutes of this game.
Now Lopez over to Reed. Swings it back to Lopez into McGregor. McGregor now back out to Lopez. Cougars can't break in. Reed now slicing in, puts that up and in. Kalia Reed gets the Cougars above 40, and it's down to an 11-point deficit with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, the Cougars really need to start playing some lights-out defense and also hit all their shots on offense if they want to turn this game around in the last 5 minutes.
Long pass to Chokshi. Chokshi long 2 is good. Mahima Chokshi just saw the opportunity, took it, and why not? Another field goal in the second half. There's a long 3 from Kalia Reed, and that one's good. Kalia Reed makes it a 10-point game. She responds to Chokshi's 2. Now Levine driving baseline, working on McGregor. That shot no good. Reed now working with pace. Both of these teams getting some quick possessions again and again and again and again and again in this last minute. Lopez to Nimsicon. Nimsicon, pump fake, Southern, back out to Reed. So the Cougars, lots of passes, yet to really break past the perimeter. Now Reed, back out to Southern. Southern looking for an option over to Nimsicon. 5 left, long 3, no good. And that will be rebounded by the Cougars. Lopez gets out there, gets it, and swings it back to Nimsicon. Nimsicon now driving, shot up, no good. And that's going to be a foul on Danny Mendez. Nimsicon has figured out how to draw a foul at will against this MSOE defense. She'll head to the free throw line again for another 2 shots.
And that's Mendez's 4th foul of the game as she heads to the bench.
First free throw from Nimsicon is good, and that drops deficit below 10, back down to 9.
Yeah, I think Concordia realized here with little under 4 minutes left in the game that now might be the time to hit the panic button and really up the speed.
So Concordia will take a full timeout as they trail by 8, and we'll take that chance for a break here in the second half. We'll be back in just a moment on the Cougar Sports Network for more Cougar basketball action.
Hey Cougars, come to CIT.
Tune in at 11:30 to see us dance.
Go Cougars!
Welcome back to Geisman Gymnasium here in River Forest for some more Wednesday night basketball action. Cougars trail the Raiders by 8, 54-46.
Yeah, they're trying to pull off a bit of a 3-minute, 41-second miracle here. Down by 9. MSOE's been shooting very well in the 4th quarter here. Cougars trying to find a way to pull off a 9-0 run here in the last 3.5 minutes, roughly.
Now Chokshi working her way into the paint, kicks it out to Curley. 3 is good. Lana Curley comes back and makes an impact. Her first couple of seconds here in the 4th quarter, and she gets MSOE back up on the board.
And shots like those from Curley will do a very good job of making sure that Concordia does, in fact, not have the ability to pull off a 3-minute miracle.
Back out to Lopez, swings it back over to Nimsicon. Over to Lopez again. Now Lopez thought about driving, slowly works in, now moves back out, back over to Reed. 5 left on the shot clock. Reed's got to do something. Long 2, no good. And that'll go all the way out of bounds.
It's just wasted possessions. Well, not wasted, but possessions like those by Concordia where they're just not able to get the good, clean shots off. That's how MSOE's been able to build this 11-point lead. They've played good perimeter defense that doesn't allow Concordia to drive the lane regularly and instead forces them to shoot from 3, where Concordia is 6 for 22 on the night.
Curley sends that over to Butterbrot. I should send it back over to Chokshi. Now Chokshi driving, baseline, kicks out to Curley. Here's a 3. And that one no good off the side of the rim. Immediately rebounded by Butterbrot. Gets back out to Chokshi. Mid-range jumper, no good again. Rebounded by McGregor. Deficit still 11, 2:15 to go.
Concordia looking for some Tracy McGrady type heroics out of one of their players here in the last 2 minutes, but don't know if it's going to happen tonight.
Now Nimsicon over to Lopez into Southern. McGregor, Nimsicon, Lopez, three. In! Hannah Lopez, her first bucket of the night, and it's a tray. 8-point gap, 57-49.
Concordia seeing if they can make some type of last 2-minute drill push here, somehow pull themselves back into this.
Into Curley. Gets that out to Hill, over to Chokshi. Now Chokshi takes a screen, driving in, and that's a sloppy pass and a sloppy interception from the Cougars. Somehow, Butterbrodt able to get a hand on it, but the Cougars still able to force the jump ball. So they'll have the chance to inbound, 1:22 remaining, trailing by 8. They'll need to move with pace.
Need to move with a lot of pace if they want to somehow tie this game back up in the last 70 seconds.
Now Reed driving, and she draws a foul. That's going to be tagged on Hill. So Reed will head to the line, able to draw the shooting foul as well. So Kalia Reed heads up play, saw the body, drove into it, went up for the shot, and she'll get two attempts. First attempt of those is good, makes her 4 of 5 from the charity stripe tonight.
If she can hit this second one, then this will still somehow only be a 2-possession game.
And that second one, no good. Rebound by Southern, however. McGregor gets that out to Reed, over to Lopez. Lopez working in, over to Reed. Reed, triple! No good. Rebound by Chokshi. And now the Raiders will be content to drain this clock.
Yeah, that might have been the last gasp from Concordia there. If you hit that 3, it's a 4-point game with a minute left, but now down 7, under a minute. Not a whole lot you can do at this point.
As Reed charges out and fouls Chokshi. Cougars still 2 fouls to give, and immediately fouls her again, just trying to get to that bonus, to get to those free throws. But I'm not too sure if Kalia Reed is the one you would have spending those fouls.
No, considering that she is one of the Cougars' leading scorers tonight, I'm not sure. I agree. I don't think she's the one you want giving fouls.
And they'll put her right back into the game now. So that foul, Nimsicon fouls Curley. We're now in the bonus for MSOE. Curley will have a 1-and-1 attempt at the line. First shot's up and no good.
MSOE's been shooting pretty well from free throw tonight. They're shooting 8 for 13, which is still 9 for 14, which is still a little bit below their season average.
And with an 8-point gap, 48 seconds remaining, head coach Lauren Martin calls her first timeout. And it's a full 1-minute timeout with 48 seconds left. Trying, as Eric's mentioned, to pull off a miracle to try and win this game.
Jonathan, in this situation, you're down 3 possessions from the last sub 50 seconds. What type of game plan do you draw up here to somehow try to will your team back into this?
I think you've got to try and draw up a corner 3. They haven't been falling consistently, but if you make some threes, it's a 3-possession game. If you go for 2s, it's 4. You need to get those big shots. That's where the problem comes in, however, because the Cougars have not been hitting those 3 points consistently as you would like. 29% from 3, not a horrible clip. If we're being honest on the night. If you look at the second half alone, it's at 30%. It's not bad.
No.
But you need that rate to be better, and your reliable 3-point shooters aren't hitting those threes reliably as you would like them to. I mean, you might send it over to Sydney Nimsicon, who has no fear when taking a 3. She'll chuck one up any day. Kalia Reed, 1 for 2 on the half. Hannah Lopez, 1 for 2 on the half. There's a couple players you can get those threes, but you need to start getting points in volume.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And then on the flip side, you got to try to force quick turnovers, which MSOE's not impervious to turnovers. They have 16 on the game tonight. So if Concordia can try to just make them have MSOE have some sloppy mistakes here in the last 48 seconds of the game, as you said, if they can hit their threes, then, maybe there'll be a miracle in store for us tonight.
Anna Lopez will inbound. Nimskant rushing out. Hands off to Reed. Reed, odd about driving. She will drive, gets that shot up. No good. Rebound, Mendez. Chokshi coming down the near sideline. Driving into the paint, kicks it out to Curley. And now we'll see I'm guessing an off-ball foul on Kalia Reed.
Mm-hmm. That'll be her third of the night. So you're not really worried about foul trouble at this point because the odds are we're probably not headed to overtime. But yeah, this just gives MSOE a chance to extend their lead.
Chokshi's first free shot is up and good, makes it 59-50. She'll put up another, and that one no good. Rebounded by Butterbrought, however, not the point of those fouls for the Cougars. Now Curley will hold on the far side, and Nimsikant's unable to successfully foul her. Hill holding on the far side, finally fouled by Nimsikant, and it just feels a bit pointless at this point from CUC between making up your mind towards fouling or not, but...
Yeah, at this point, it's 30 seconds left in the game. You would need 3 threes to tie the game and simultaneously hope that MSOE just hits none of their free throws. So at this point, it seems like, a little bit too late for that.
And the other notable part of that is Sydney Nimsikant's 5th foul. She is out of the game.
Yes. Yep. We will not be seeing her in the last 20.1 seconds tonight.
So Hill makes both free throws, makes it 61-50. And Coach Martin will call another timeout as her team trails by 11 with 20 seconds to go. So the Cougars clearly not giving up yet.
I don't think I really need to ask you the question of what does Martin tell their players to try to figure out to win this, because 4-possession game in the last 20 seconds, I don't think there's a lot you can do to somehow get a lot of rapid possessions really quickly, but you never know.
You got to scheme up a catch and shoot 3.
Yes,
it's what it needs to be. Get down the court ASAP, couple long passes, catch and shoot. You got to make a couple threes. You can settle for some 2s. It's an 11-point game, so you don't need all 3s. But you're going to need a catch and shoot 3 here and there. And I think at this point, being down by 11, you're going to want that catch and shoot 3. So we'll have Southern on the far sideline inbounding. Look to Kalia Reed to be the one to take that 3. And she'll get the inbound. Dribbles for a second. And it looks like she'll drive in, puts the shot up, try to draw a foul, no good. Rebound Curley. And Reed goes in to foul. Down by 11 with 10 seconds left.
Again, as you said earlier, I don't think you really need to foul at this point in the game. Yet 10 seconds left. This could make it a 5-possession game.
But the Cougars not done yet. They're not ready to go down quietly as Curley hits her first free throw in this set.
Yeah, Concordia's not going quietly into that good night. They're going to keep fighting until the horn sounds.
There's Curley, goes 2 for 2, so Lopez takes the inbound. 7 seconds left, over to Reed. Reed back out to Lopez. Lopez over to Schneider, who just puts up the last-second 3. No good. And that's how it will end. The Cougars fall once again in 2025, 63-50. As that shot drops to the ground, we hear the Drops of Jupiter begin to play here in Geisman Gymnasium once again. MSOE comes away with their 4th win of this conference season. So a big win for MSOE on the road. They'll extend their win streak to 3. The Cougars, as they drop another one, will drop their losing streak to 9 straight. Still winless in conference.
Yeah, one note about MSOE. This game ends Lana Curley's double-double streak. She got her 17 points needed, but could not get enough. She couldn't get to the double digits in any other category. So her double-double streak will end at 2.
And before we just kind of get your final thoughts from this game, Eric, we'll run through a couple important stats. Scoring leaders on the night, Mahima Chokshi and Lana Curley, both with 17 as they tacked on a couple bonus points with those free throws at the end. Over on the Cougars end, 2 players in double digits, Kalia Reed with 16, Sydney Nimsicant with 16. Nimsicant channeling her inner James Harden, 2 for 11 from 3 and flawless from the free throw line. Mahima Chokshi, the undersized point guard, led both teams in rebounds with 9 for the Raiders. Mendez second with 7. Cougars ended the game with 13 turnovers. MSOE with 16. So the Cougars had that positive turnover margin, weren't able to do as much with it as they wanted. And a storyline coming into this game, Eric, is that the Cougars starters weren't scoring. It was their bench. 4 of the 5 Cougars starters scored. 2 points came off the bench in Lily Southern. No one else scored for CUC, and that gives you a glimpse of the offensive struggles that the Cougars face tonight. That'll do it for here tonight in Geisman Gymnasium. Eric, any closing thoughts on tonight's game?
For me, this game really shifted about halfway through the second quarter. Concordia had they had a 7-point lead in the first quarter. Then MSOE got it to 5 going into the second quarter. And then it felt to me like during that second quarter, Concordia just started to kind of hit the panic button. That was when they really started taking the rough shots and the hurried threes that they didn't need to necessarily take yet. They had plenty of time. It just felt that once MSOE started going on a run, Concordia panicked, and their panic led them to go in on a 5-minute second quarter drought. And that was when MSOE took the lead and just really never looked back.
Absolutely, but that'll do it. MSOE, 3rd straight win. They move up to 4-1 in conference with a 63-50 win over the Concordia Chicago Cougars. MSOE, they'll move on from here to take on Rockford University this Saturday, January 18th. The Cougars, they stay at home as they drop to 0-6 in conference. And they got a tough matchup coming up this Saturday against Wisconsin Lutheran College, which is a basketball doubleheader. Wisconsin Lutheran traveling here with both their men's and women's teams to take on both Concordia Chicago's men's and women's basketball teams this Saturday, January 18th. That'll do it here from Geisman Gymnasium and the Cougar Sports Network. A big thank you to everyone who we had helping us tonight on camera: Jalen Franklin, Emily Lucero. Our producers tonight were Jess Gang and Alan Mateo. Taking photos tonight, Sasha Gonzalez. Dave Daimling worked as our spotter with Tyler Dorsch working the scoreboard. Our sports information director is Caleb McLeod. Assistant sports information director, Corey Welch. On color with me tonight was Eric Perry. I'm Jonathan Shear with the Cougar Sports Network. Thank you for joining us here. Make sure to join us later this week for more Cougar sports action right here on the Cougar Sports Network. As always, roll Cougs.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.